Coming up on the Paper Talk today, we'll be looking at more tributes for Sir Bobby Charlton. Manchester United planning a further tribute ahead of the Copenhagen game this week and also the Manchester City game, rightly so. Hopefully City fans can behave themselves for that one. Also, we'll be looking at a transfer target. It seems the club are already looking at replacements for Casemiro, and could someone be replacing Erik Ten Hag? I don't think so. Let's check it out. Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it's a bit cold, so put your parkers on. Lots of stories to get through, so we'll crack on. Obviously, a lot of stories focusing and centering around Sir Bobby Charlton passing away. Tributes have been pouring in. We've been posting some of them. I'm sure you've seen lots of them online as well, and at the football matches that we had post the announcement as well, there was tributes being paid. There was obviously a tribute at the Sheffield United game when Manchester United played, and we saw other games yesterday pretty much impeccably observed as well, any tributes. I know there's some footage of City fans letting themselves down, doing the rounds on social media, but other than that, I think everyone respects and appreciates what an iconic figure Sir Bobby was, not just to Manchester United, but to the world of football as well. Whether you're an England fan, whether you're just a football fan, you can't help but admire what he achieved in the game after going through so much as well. And I just feel very sad but very proud that Sir Bobby Charlton represented Manchester United and did it so well. On that front as well, there's a story in The Guardian that says Manchester United announced plans to honour Sir Bobby Charlton. Manchester United will pay tribute to the life of Sir Bobby Charlton before their home matches against FC Copenhagen and Manchester City this week. A minute's silence will be held before kick-off at Old Trafford, where Charlton had a stand named after him, in his honour in 2016, on Tuesday and Sunday, while talks are continuing about additional ways to commemorate his life. Pep Guardiola promises City will be present to make a tribute in honour of Charlton for the City game. I hope those fans behave better than the ones we've seen online. I'm sure they will. Just on other stories as well, moving on, injury updates. We've got, hopefully, a bit of good news on the injury front. Manchester United have been absolutely hammered by injuries this season. We're missing so many players, but it looks like there might be a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Sergio Reguilon, according to the Manchester Evening News, could be back this Tuesday. He could feature against FC Copenhagen. There were rumours that he might have featured against Sheffield United. Obviously, he didn't, but the thinking there is that rather than risk it, the manager wanted to wait until he was definitely 100% ready, and that would be the game against Copenhagen on Tuesday. On that front as well, Kobbie Mainoo could be available for that game too. We saw him in training. I'm sure you saw the clips of him in training doing bits, looking very good indeed. He could be back for the Copenhagen game as well. Whether he'll start remains to be seen. He's more than likely going to be on the bench if he is available. But Sergio Reguilon, I think, should be, if he's available, a starter. We miss having an out-and-out left-back. Victor Lindelof filling in there. It's not the same. I like Lindelof, but he's not a left-back, and you miss so much from having a left-back there. I think it helps Marcus Rashford, it helps the balance of the back four, helps the team in general. I think we need to get a proper left-back in that position, and Sergio Reguilon fits the bill. And let's not forget as well, he had a very good start. Basically, he's only had a start to his Manchester United career. Those first couple of games he played did very well. It's just very, very frustrating that he got injured, because we're obviously missing Luke Shaw, we're missing Tyrone Malacia. You bring in a loanee in Sergio Reguilon, and then within a fortnight, he's got injured as well. It's just a bit of a farce, but hopefully he can come back and do a very good job for Manchester United, because we need him. There's a story here in the Evening News as well. They've got it from the Spanish outlet Nacional. It says that United step-up chase for Casemiro replacement. United are reportedly set to target highly rated Benfica starlet Joao Neves. The teenager plays as a defensive midfielder for the Portuguese Giants. Proposed interest from United in the player has been mooted already this month, and it says here that we're going to step up our efforts to get him, and that a fee of around £61 million has been suggested. We never get a bargain, do we? I mean, he might be a very good player, but it always seems like any player United are linked with costs a bit of a fortune. We'll have to see what happens with that one. I mean, there's question marks around Casemiro, isn't there? I know we've signed him, I think, to a 4-year deal, but some people are looking at him already going, are his legs going? I think he's a little bit premature to say that. I know he hasn't had a very good start to the season, to say the least, but he's 31 years old. He's not going to be around forever. And if you have got a player that's available who's, 11 years younger than him or whatever it is, then that might be the best option. So we'll have to have a look at that one. We'll keep you posted if there are any developments, but it feels a little bit concerning that we're already having to look at replacements for Casemiro. We only signed him last season, but that's what happens when you sign 30-year-olds. Doesn't matter how good they are, they're not going to last forever. So yeah, it looks like United are having one eye on who could come in to replace him, and the kid Neves fits that bill. This story, right, started doing the rounds yesterday, and it's been doing the rounds again this morning in the newspapers. Now, when I first saw it, I dismissed it. I just thought nonsense. But I'm just going to let you know about it anyway, because A, you never know with Manchester United, and B, quite a lot of people are reporting it, so it's our job to tell you what's being reported and then give you our opinion on it, which I'm going to give you in a minute. It says here about Manchester United. It says Graham Potter, this is on Sky Sports, is in demand with both Napoli and Man United interested in the former Brighton and Chelsea head coach. Now, these reports apparently have come from The Sun, so I'm always going to take it with a pinch of salt when anything comes from there. Hashtag don't buy The Sun. It says that basically he could end up coming to United if or when Sir Jim Ratcliffe takes over, if investors lose faith in Erik Ten Hag. There's a story here in the Express as well. It says Graham Potter, and it goes one step further, not just saying that Graham Potter could come to Man United, but he could actually go to Chelsea to raid Chelsea for some of his former players. It says Graham Potter could return to Chelsea and sign 5 players, lots of ifs and buts here, if he replaces Erik Ten Hag at Manchester United. The out-of-work coach is linked with the Old Trafford job if the incoming investors lose faith in Ten Hag. So they're basically saying there that Erik Ten Hag, if things don't go well for him, if it goes, if he loses the trust and support of the new investors, mainly Sir Jim Ratcliffe, then Graham Potter could be an option. Now, I was just looking at it because you think Graham Potter, he had a bit of a disastrous spell at Chelsea, didn't he? I can't see him being that highly in demand, but he was highly sought after Brighton. It's why he got the Chelsea job. Just humour me here. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I was just looking at his record at Brighton. I think his win rate was 31.1%. Yeah. Okay, you look at Brighton, look at where they were and what he did there. He did very well. Then at Chelsea, his win rate was actually 38%. He played 31 games, won 12, drew 8 and lost 11. Now, we know how things went wrong very quickly there, and towards the end it was a bit of a disaster, and especially the nature of some of those losses at home as well. So I'm not saying Graham Potter's the answer. I'm just saying, just trying to play devil's advocate here. If you are the new owner or new part owner or whatever you want to call it of Manchester United, and you're coming in and you're losing faith in Erik Ten Hag, if things don't go the way that you want them to, is Graham Potter a viable option? Maybe he is. Maybe his start is still high enough that he could be looked at by Jim Ratcliffe and Paul Mitchell if he comes in as an option for Manchester United. I wouldn't be in favour of it. I don't really want to see Graham Potter take over at Manchester United. I still think we've got to stick with Erik Ten Hag. I'm just giving you a scenario. And let's not forget as well, Erik Ten Hag is going to be under pressure. He's going to be under pressure this week if things don't go well. I don't like to say that, but it's true. We've got a big game against Copenhagen. Well, we need to win that if we're going to stay in the Champions League. Then you've got the derby. Now, you can maybe get away with losing the Manchester derby because it's Manchester City, and I know we shouldn't be thinking like that at home against City, but it can happen, let's be honest. But if you lose that badly, then the knives are going to be out. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to see that, and I certainly don't want to see Graham Potter coming in, and I think that's probably a load of rubbish, but tentatively worth keeping an eye on. It's one of those where you go, okay, let's not just dismiss it out of hand, let's just keep an eye on to see if there is anything in that. At the minute, I don't think there is, but we'll let you know if there are any developments. Just on that Casemiro replacement front as well, I think we need to look at new transfers. We were talking about Paul Mitchell coming in, saying that he could now be the director of football. And there was a reports that when Sir Jim Ratcliffe came to Carrington, he questioned some of the signings we'd been making, some of the signings he felt weren't value for money. And I think that's something we've been critical of Manchester United over the years. We haven't really bought well. You look at some of our signings post Alex Ferguson, there's a lot of short-termism, there's a lot of paying over the odds for players, there's a lot of not walking away from a deal. Manchester City spend a lot of money, and I'm not going to praise them because they've got 115 charges hanging over them for starters, so we can hardly use them as a sort of a shining example of what to do. But they have a limit on their transfers where they'll say, okay, we'll walk away from it. So when Harry Maguire is a target and when the Leicester want too much, they walk away. When they want Cucurella from Chelsea, or from Brighton, and Brighton want too much, they walk away. United don't seem to do that. We seem to just keep going with transfers, with targets, until we get them. And sometimes that doesn't pay off. Sometimes we're left with players that aren't quite good enough and we paid over the odds for him. Alexis Sanchez, for example. I think we need to have a massive overhaul on how we do our transfer business at Manchester United. We've been linked with Paul Mitchell. Hopefully he can come in and sort things out, for want of a better expression, because we're wasting far too much money on players who more often than not, aren't up to the job, and some of them are coming towards the end of the career. It's almost like they're coming in here, they're winding down, and we've overpaid for them, we give them massive contracts, and then we don't know what to do with them, we can't move them on when we do need to move them on. Even some of the younger players we've bought, you look at Jadon Sancho, the wages he's on, the fee we paid, it's difficult to move him on if we are going to move him on, which looks like we could do in January. So yeah, if Paul Mitchell comes in, he's got a big job on his hands. If things don't go right for Erik Ten Hag, could it be Graham Potter? I'm not so sure about that one. As always, we'll keep you posted. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. I've been Jay Motty outside a pretty cold Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.